So at the moment I'm in Spain because we've had to come over here a bit short notice because my grandpa's getting a Parkinson's test and see if he has actually got it. So it's been a bit of a struggle. And what it's made me realise that I know exactly what to do in the UK. I know exactly what routes and everything. But in Spain, totally different country, don't know where I am. So I thought I would tell you what, if you found this situation in England, you'd know everything around it because people have a lot of misunderstanding. It's a whole new area of life. So let me see if I can share my screen. Okay. So what to expect when you're not expecting it. So I'm going to go straight in with calling 999 because 999 is such a big deal. I remember doing it the first time going, oh my God, she's had a fall. Oh my God, what am I going to do? She's like, what area do you need? Police, ambulance, ambulance. And I was going all freaking out because I've never done 999 before. So whether they've had a fall or they've like, their head's bleeding, you obviously got to adapt to every situation. But for some people, it can be like the breathing's gone a bit funny, or they have had a fall and they've hurt themselves, they can't get back up. So the main things that I've learned from calling 999 is some of these things happen due to infections or chest infections, etc. So if you're looking after someone and they use a lot of tissues, we check for tissues because if there's blood in the tissues from coughing, sneezing, etc., it could be signs of an infection, hence why they've had a fall, hence why they're breathing funny, etc. Obviously, check for bleeding on the person if they've hurt themselves. There could be scrapes, bumps, especially if they're on warfarin. So warfarin's a blood thinner. So if someone starts bleeding when they're on warfarin, you've got to call an ambulance straight away, depending on the bleed. If it's only a little scrape, you normally just ring a district nurse because they would normally need something to help clot the blood because warfarin stops that. Checking someone's temperature as well, because they often, when they ring the paramedics, they want you to check temperature of their forehead, their back, their chest, to make sure if there's any temperature or, like, again, another sign of infection. And then obviously check for irregular breathing, so that's counting the seconds between each breath, because if their breathing's getting slower, it could mean that their condition is getting worse. And then checking for a DNR, so that's a do not resuscitate. That's really important for ambulances, and they will need it as soon as they enter the property. And again, the medical bracelet, that will tell you any allergies, etc. So the other thing that will be really common when you're dealing with a loved one that's been given a diagnosis is UTIs and infections. They are the biggest killers. And one of my ladies, she was so lovely, and she didn't have dementia or anything like that, but she got a UTI and she hallucinated that much after watching The Sound of Music before. She then thought the Nazis were in their house trying to take the family, so she was trying to hide the family underneath the stairs, and I had to calm her down. It was, when I look back, it's quite funny, but at the time it was obviously so real to her. So when you're looking after a loved one, always check out for these signs of like strong urine, if they're hallucinating, if their urine's getting a bit smelly, or like memory loss, which is more than usual, or any strange behaviour or fevers. Definitely ring a GP, 111 at a weekend, and they will normally give you antibiotics without even asking at a certain age, because they always think it will do something good. But if it keeps on getting worse and worse, it could be that the antibiotics aren't the right one, they may need a different one, or they may need to go to hospital and have it through a intravenous way. And also look out for signs of sepsis. Sepsis is a big killer, and you'll straight away, if you notice any of those signs, you ring 999. The other thing to do with social care is funding. So you can get social services funding. At the moment, the threshold is £23,250. In your bank account, they also look at your housing, any other assets, they go through all of that. But hopefully, well, in October 2025, this will be going up to £100,000, which is brilliant. So people should get some funding through social services that way. You can also speak to Citizens Advice. Citizen Advice are brilliant. They can help you get funding for equipment. They can help you get funding for care, and they can point you in the right direction. The person in Stratford is amazing to ring, and he can help you out with everything, especially getting, if you've seen them on the telly, they're the chairs that get you from a sitting to a standing position. They're quite hard. Well, you won't get them on the NHS. You'd have to get the funding somehow. And that's what Citizen Advice can help you with if you meet a certain criteria. There's also NHS funding. So NHS funding, you have to meet a certain criteria, and that's things like you can't breathe on your own, you can't communicate pain. You normally get this around end of life, and certain levels of dementia that will apply to this, and the NHS will pay for your care. And then sometimes the NHS pays for like 6 weeks of your care when you come out of hospital. This normally happens when someone's had something like they've broken their arm and they just need a little bit of care to get them back to where they were. Sometimes you will get that on the NHS, and they will provide that for care for like 6 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on your area. I mean, how much do you expect to pay for care? So originally, back before COVID, it was £20 an hour. It's now gone all the way up to £26 an hour. Now we're quite in a fortunate position where we're at 24. We're trying to keep it low cost as possible. But yeah, care is getting really pricey. I've seen other care companies that are charging £30, £31 an hour, which is just a rip-off. And we're trying to keep it as low cost as possible for people. So Parkinson's, there's some interesting facts. So as you can see in the picture, if anyone remembers having carpet in the bathroom, I remember I went to my best friend's Nan's house, and she had carpet on the toilet seat. I was like, whoa. But when you've got Parkinson's and they've got carpet in the house, including the bathroom, keep it that way. I know carpet's not hygienic, but if you start then putting laminate floor in a bathroom, they're more likely to have a fall, because it's that change of surface. And it's something that people don't realise, but it's so helpful for those with Parkinson's, is you keep all the floors the same as possible, even removing carpets for like if they've got laminate with carpet on top, just remove them, because that change of, even though it's like millimetres, it does affect people's walking. And the key thing with Parkinson's is patience. Like, it's a real horrible disease when your body is not doing what you want it to do, and it's constantly shaking, and there's a lot of effort just to move limbs. So you just got to be that really patient with people, like, because sometimes walking is taking more brain work than actual physical work. And then also there is the Parkinson's charity that can give you a lot of information, and it's a really good place to go to. If we're going to talk about is DNR and respect forms. So we always used to call them DNRs, which is do not resuscitate. They are now called respect forms. These are brilliant forms in terms of saying that you do not want to be resuscitated. And also for some people that have got dementia, going into hospital can be like such a drastic effect on them, because they're not in their familiar surroundings. There's different people, there's different lights. It can be so traumatic. You can actually get a doctor to write on this to say, do not take into hospital unless they have this, or this. And that is a way for keeping your loved one at home, where they can still get the love and support they need through district nurses, GPs, etc., but in a less traumatic way, because with dementia, they will bite, they will scratch you, they will, because they're so scared of what they don't understand. And it's best to just stay at home and make it more familiar for them. DNRs are quite, hospitals, if they've got someone with dementia, it's always a good thing to check this out. They may just put it in and you won't know a thing about it. We've had this before, where the hospital put it in, they've not consulted the family, she's come back with a DNR form, we've said to the family, do you know that she's got a respect form? And they go, no, we haven't authorised that. So just watch out for that. Some health professionals will do that and they won't even tell the family. They are good in a way, because the more you get older, the less likely DNR is going to work, resuscitation is going to work. It will be a lot of pain, including you could possibly break some of your bones from being resuscitated. So it's an option for people just to pass away slowly without any pain, because the likelihood of it working is very low, and you might be in a bit more pain if they do start resuscitating you. So here's a bit about dementia. These are some really good charities that you can go to for any help. There's also like a young dementia network, because it's like 4,066 people that are aged under 65 that have dementia, and that's quite a worrying number. I know it's always associated with people of a certain age when it actually is younger. So we're also part of the Dementia Friends. So I don't know if one time I'd do another 1Nsight, you want me to do Dementia Friends training, and then you can all be Dementia Friends and get a little badge. I can send you into the post, etc. It's just a food for thought there. And some really great things to do is like visual cues. So some people with dementia, they need to know where their socks, their pants are, and like little labels and things can be really useful to keep them as independent as possible before introducing care. Because some people just have quite low levels of care. The one thing that we will do for people are dementia cards. They're a little bit different compared to the one on the left. Ours are plastic with the green and yellow sunflowers, which show a disability, so that people can't read the information from the look of it. They have to actually physically get out the holder and look at the details. And that will tell you where their daughter lives or where they live and their care company. So they've got someone to help them if they go out and about and they're like lost. It does happen, and you can actually get trackers for people with dementia, but they have to be on something now they're always carrying, which is quite hard. And also like fidgety things. People with dementia, they love things that fidget. We make I Spy in bottles, so they have to move the sand to see where the thing is, and they can tick it off that they've seen it through the I Spy, or little blankets of like little buttons on just for them to fidget with. I mean, these are all things that might work for one person but not the same. Dementia is totally different to each individual case, but happy to speak to anyone that's got any questions about that and ways they can implement stuff. And then health professionals. So what I have is people go out and buy equipment like railings and stuff, and they spend loads of money on it when they don't have to, because they don't realise what health professionals do. So first of all, you've got your district nurses. So your district nurses are fabulous. They were brilliant during COVID because all the GPs put all the work on the district nurses and they were overrun. But district nurses will come out to your house. They will do wound care. They will change catheters. They will check for pressure sores and just do general checks on people, take blood pressure. Then you've got your occupational therapist. So you can have either an occupational therapist through the NHS or through the council. You normally have an occupational therapist through the council if you can have a ceiling track hoist, because the NHS don't provide them, but social services do. It's a bit weird. But occupational therapists are great because they can introduce different types of equipment. They can say, look, a railing needs to be here in the bathroom, needs to be one by the front door, and they will get a company called Millbrook to install it, which is brilliant because then you haven't got to pay for it. There's also loads of equipment they can introduce and different things like that. Then you've got your physiotherapy team. They can help you with, obviously, getting your muscles back, helping you use different types of equipment, because especially when some people have been in hospital for so long, they've lost some ability because they've been stuck in bed all the time. So it's just building up that ability back to use certain types of equipment. And then you've got the SALT team. So if someone's been diagnosed with dysphagia, that's normally a choking hazard, loads of different levels. But they will come out and see how you eat and you drink, and then they might give you thickener for fluids, recommend a certain diet, because at a certain age you do lose that ability to get things off your chest, and then that causes chest infections, whereas our age we can do that quite easily. So they will just recommend different diets, different ways of eating, etc. And then you've got the incontinence team. They do exactly what I said on the name. They will just help you get pads. They're not coming out into the community as much as they used to. They will just say, let's have a phone call, which is a shame because they used to come out and recommend different things. But yeah, they help supply pads so that you don't have to buy them. You can get them free on the NHS through the incontinence team, and sometimes Kylie's and things like that. And that's it. The other thing I was going to talk about was quickly end of life. So if anybody watches EastEnders, I don't, but there's a story about this lady, about Lola, and it's the most realistic end of life that any TV company's done, because you will find there's dryness around the mouth, syringe drivers may be introduced, and there's a lot of questions asked. So what I'd recommend is you go to Marie Curie. Marie Curie is a brilliant charity in the fact that it doesn't matter who you are or who you've looked after and they've died, you can speak to them and get some help through them. They also go through all the steps of end of life, so if you've got any questions, they can just help you straight away, and fill in those gaps of knowledge. But yeah, so I hope that was good. And yeah, if you want to ask any questions, please do.
Thank you so much, Yasmin. That was really, really good and really helpful as well. Round of applause all round, and definitely up for a little bit of training though on your next insight. So have we got like a minute or so for any questions? Laura?
You mentioned about signs of sepsis, but if you could clarify those, that would be great, because I think it's really important for everyone to know. Yeah,
that's fine. I did have I have a poster normally with me at work, but I've forgotten it. But yeah, so colours are going, like if the person's looking a bit yellow, I can put a picture in the group chat. I just got to find my sheet now because I didn't bring all my work stuff with me. Oh yeah, slurred speech or confusion. Sorry, the internet's a bit slow here. So, but yeah, I can put some details on the group chat for anyone. That's fine.
Amazing, thank you.